disclaimer before we start. I should have started with that. But if you are here to learn something about football, this is not, probably you should skip it. Give a like and a comment on whatever, like help a brother out, but just skip it. All right, guys, thank you for being here. This is another episode of Another Day in Paradise. And today I want to talk to you about something that many of you who know me really well would not have guessed that I would talk about this topic. But for people who don't know, let me catch you up to speed. I have actually 3 podcasts. I have 2 that I do in French and 1 that I do in English. The one that I do in English is obviously this one. The 2 that I do in French, one is called Ça reste entre nous. You can just go on YouTube and click on Ça reste entre nous podcast and you will find it. And the other one is a podcast about football or soccer, as some might call it. And people who know me will already start smiling because I often like to say I know about football as good as I play it, which is horrendous. It's ridiculous. But I kind of enjoy having fun with my friends. So about 2 or 3 years ago, we started having, as usual in Morocco, conversations about football. This player sucks. This player is good. Messi is better than Cristiano, etc., etc. And I said, you know what? I really like that energy and I like to do podcasts. So I decided to create a podcast about football. And we had fun. And today, my friends, Enzo, the 2 Alis, Reda, Abde, Mehdi, etc., they took it over and they are doing a great job. So again, if you want to check it out, it's if you go on YouTube, it's called Le Foutoir. Le Foutoir space podcast. You will find it on YouTube. The logo is a green chicken. You'll soon realize that I have a fetish about chicken, something weird. But anyways, all my logos are pretty much chickens. Anyway, that being said, Morocco is a big nation of football. We have been participating in many major competitions for a long time. And recently we have been winning some of them. And I think we won like the U20, we won the Arab League Cup or whatever. Like, again, disclaimer before we start. I should have started with that. But if you are here to learn something about football, this is not, probably you should skip it. Give a like and a comment on whatever, like help a brother out, but just skip it. If you just want to get my opinion and maybe react and tell me your opinion, then that's probably the spirit of Another Day in Paradise in general. But that's today, surprisingly enough, I will talk about football. So buckle up, okay? Here is the thing. As I said, Morocco has been always entertained with football. We have been playing football. We have some major competitions where we kind of like went a little far. We have some international football players who play in a big European leagues, etc. But recently, this last year, we have been investing some money inside this to structure, I would say, this sport, which clearly is putting forward these young, talented players that we have. And we have been collecting the fruits of these investments. Like I said, we won a couple major. I think the major one the major achievement that we had this far is the semis in the World Cup. So we beat some pretty good teams, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we are now, which is very surprising to me, but I'm sure to even people who know a lot better football than me, we are, I think, ranked number 5. Number 6 is Brazil. So we're doing okay. We are doing great. I think before we were like, maybe I would say, if I had to guess it, I would say 50, 60. So yeah, we are definitely in the top five, which is just spectacular. But anyways, December of last year, we organized a Coupe d'Afrique, which is like the African Cup. So it's like the World Cup for Africa, and a huge competition. We organized it. Like I said, Morocco spent a lot of money, and which was a controversy in a way because, of course, if we invest in big infrastructures like those, people will say, well, how about, like, there are some villages who are still struggling with water, who are still struggling with winter, and still struggling with electricity and roads and this and that and jobs, etc. And we decided to invest a lot of money to build stadiums, top shelf stadiums, let's put it this way. And this competition was clearly a success in terms of infrastructure, in terms of security, transport, hotels. Everything was just like the hospitality. Everything was like top notch. And then came the final. And that's the topic of the day, right? We have a coach. We had a coach, rather, Regragui, and he's the one who took us to the semifinals in the World Cup the year before, I think, or 2 years before, like in Qatar. And fantastic competition. Coming into this competition of the Coupe d'Afrique, we have a lot of expectations. He puts a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure on himself, saying, if I don't win it, then I don't deserve staying there. Like, we are there, we are here to win it. We're not here to play around, especially that there's the World Cup coming right around the corner. So clearly we are supposed to win it. We are the favorite, and we will, like, confirm our progress, and which is a pretty high bar. Like, usually people don't like to be the contender. They prefer to be the underdogs because it's just more, if you lose, then that's fine. You were supposed to lose. But if you are supposed to win and you lose, then, it's like a double loss in a way. But anyways, the structure was perfect. The teams came excellent. I live in Rabat in Morocco. Rabat was like, prepped, like giving us the best it could give. Like, it was the climax of this city, which is already a pretty, like, fantastic city to start with, but it was like just spectacular. And the final came around against Senegal. Now, for people who don't know, Senegal is a country that is very, very, very historically friendly with Morocco. We have many Senegalese people here, as students, as investors, as people who are just like binationals, and they married Moroccans, and so they live here, and vice versa. They have a lot of Moroccans in Senegal, and we speak the same language, and we are close, I would say, culturally, etc. So we, to be really honest, if I want to be honest, we have a lot of, we are much closer culturally. For people who don't know, of course, if you are Moroccan, you know, and if you don't know, now you know. That's it. Algeria is much closer culturally. Our governments don't get along. The people in general, not all of us, but we are very, very above that. And we are very, I would say, we have no problems with each other. Of course, not everybody. Of course, there are some haters from our side and from their side. But for the most general population, for the most of the population, we are very, very, we have a very cordial and friendly relationship. And me personally, I don't mix up between the government's propaganda and the population. We don't control the government to a certain extent, and just like they don't control the propaganda and the government to to a bigger extent, one might say. But hey, okay, I didn't mean to be hostile, but this one slipped up. But anyways, so we expected a lot of animosity from Algeria, but we didn't end up meeting Algeria. They lost earlier. A friend of mine called me from Senegal, and he told me, Jawad, this is fantastic. Two brothers are playing the final of a high competition, the highest one in Africa. This is fantastic. This is the first time we will have two winners. If you win, it's okay, because we will be happy, and we will also win because a brother won, and vice versa. Like, this is fantastic. This is the first competition. We will have two winners, etc. And this guy I haven't talked to in a very long time. And he called me, blah, blah, blah. I just remembered he was Senegalese. But anyways, and we talked about that the day before. And then the day off, he played, and he said, you know what? We'll talk after the match, okay? The next day or whatever, we'll talk again, and we will celebrate together. This is a happy time, blah, blah, blah. Two brothers are playing. They can only be two winners. This is fantastic. And the final came around. It was a disaster. It was a disaster. A little bit before that, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you felt like Morocco was obviously playing in their with their crowd, home soil. In Morocco, in Rabat, Morocco has been in a winning streak. They have been playing more or less well, some matches better than others, but definitely a strong contender. The Senegalese coach started creating some tensions and some hostility. Now, I don't want to read too much into it. Some people say, oh, it's a strategy. We were too nice. They were assholes. They were preparing this trap, etc., etc. We'll talk about some conspiracies, but you'll be the judge. Before the match, one of the first hostilities that he threw there was that he complained about the hotels being too far. He said 40 minutes, I know for Americans, it's ridiculous. 40 minutes, you barely have the time to realize you're driving, and then you're already driving an hour to go to work or whatever. He said 40 minutes for my team is too far. The hotel was a little bit too far, and he wanted like maybe 10 minutes ride to go to the field to practice, etc., etc. I mean, whatever. Like, you chose to say it in the press. You know, it will echo, etc. a lot, but you chose to do that. That's fine. And then one day he said, "Yeah, my team will take the train. We have the high-speed train. Thank you very much. You're welcome. No problem. I think it's the only one in Africa, if I'm not mistaken. But hey, doesn't matter." So he took the train, but he said on his Twitter page or whatever, we will be there at 12:45 on Monday morning, so we can practice in the afternoon, etc., etc. So we will be at the train station at 12:45. Of course, many Senegalese live here, as I told you before. They all went to the train station to meet their team, and he said, the security was a mess when we arrived. So many people were there. There was no security. I mean, there was security, but he said that it was very unsafe and dangerous for his team. Number one, most of the people who went to welcome them at their arrival at the train station were, I mean, of course, I would say that most of them were Senegalese. They took pictures with them. Of course, players had like their poker face. They took a couple pictures. They signed a couple things. They waved a little bit, but mostly they started walking towards their bus. That's what celebrities do. That's fine. And I didn't feel like they were in danger. So from the get-go, I was like, yeah, I mean, we will probably beat them, but maybe it's just the stress, and he doesn't want to admit that everything is perfect, and like they are just lucky to be there. They have their basic like fighting instinct kicking in. That's fine. I mean, the coach did not communicate in the most honorable way, but that's fine. And comes the game. it starts. I don't want to go into too much detail for the simple reason is that I don't remember all of them, but we have, we are, I think, winning. There were some red cards, and towards the end of the game, there was a red card by the referee. And they like the red card in our benefit. So we had a penalty shot. And this one was, it was a penalty, not a red card. Sorry, my bad. Which is in soccer, like maybe we can do another episode about sports and what we wish would change in sports. I think a penalty is just too brutal. Like the price is too high. And many people simulate, even big players, famous players, like fantastically talented players, they simulate. My friends would say, hey, it's part of the game. And I say, bullshit. This is a bitch move. If you simulate, you should be punished extremely hard because you're fooling the referee and you're trying to fish for a penalty shot, which is like pretty much makes the difference between winning and losing. So the consequences are too big. But anyways, there was a penalty on Brahim Diaz. He's a binational, I think Spanish and Moroccan. Many of those players, when they saw Morocco and they believed in the project, but also when they saw like us getting momentum, they decided so they could choose between playing in Spain and playing in or playing in France or playing in Holland or playing in whatever in the other country or Morocco. Most of them chose Morocco for a few reasons. Let's go over them very quickly. Number one, it's a beautiful story. It's the underdog story. It's Africa and all the symbolic behind it. But also, if I'm being very brutally honest, some of them, not all of them, but because Europe is a lot more competitive than Morocco, if not really sure, but people can correct me, Brahim Diaz, if he chose Spain is one of the best nations. It has always been very competitive, one of the best in Europe, if not the best nation in Europe. Maybe he would not have a lot of playtime. So, but in Morocco, he's the superstar. In Spain, he's another good player that the coach has to pick from. But anyways, penalty shots on Brahim Diaz, who played, in my opinion, very average. Like, again, take it with a grain of salt. This is just my opinion. I'm just like a casual viewer, just like you probably. I was not impressed. Let's put it this way. He was good, but not a name that I would have remembered if I didn't know before. But anyways, he decided to shoot it, and before that, there was a huge mess. When it was declared a penalty shot, people were all up in arms, especially Senegalese, who have been like the best crowd so far, dancing, and even some Moroccans joined them when Morocco was not even playing. They joined them to go dance with them, etc., because Morocco and Senegal are like brother countries, etc. And the coach, so it was like a mess. And the coach, the game stopped, and the coach decided, the Senegalese coach, Pap something. All right, I just remember his first name probably. I'm not even sure if it's his first name or his second name or last name. But anyways, so Pap, whatever, he decided, his coach, the head coach, decided to tell all his team, let's leave, protest. Like, if the game is going to be played like that in these conditions, then we refuse to play. 80% of the team left. One of the main player and the rare player who stayed is the biggest superstar that probably Africa has, which is Sadio Mane. He stayed on the field. Most of them went back to the changing room. And everybody was like, okay, including the referee. He was like, okay, so what do we do now? Which is, for about I think 12 minutes, 15 minutes. Anyways, for a good 15 minutes or maybe even more, there was a standstill. Nobody knew what to do. The referee was like moving his head like a, whatever, like a lizard, and not making any decision. Clearly, for this period of time, for long minutes, there was no leadership. And many discussions about what happened behind the scene and this and that. And long story short, Sadio Mane, after getting some recommendations and some advice, etc., he decided to go back and call his team players to come back. And technically, come back, because it was the last minute, we will just witness the penalty shot, which usually it's a goal. And like probably 7 times or 8 times out of 10, it's a goal. And then come back, just lose as men, pretty much, which is pretty brave, I'm not going to lie. So they ended up coming back. The penalty shot was shot in the most... It's like, I know Netflix is supposed to do a movie about it, but there is substance, all right? This is entertaining. So the twist is penalty shots are usually scored. Like, I was almost going to say 9 times out of 10, but I checked the statistics and it's more like 7 or 8 times out of 10, which is extremely high. Like, people who train really hard at penalty shots, they score them almost all the time. And that's it. And we would be champions of Africa for the second time in history. And the first time was like maybe 25 or 30 years ago. So it's a big deal. He shot a Panenka. So for people who don't know, and believe me, I recently knew about it, so don't feel ashamed. He decided to shoot like a trick shot instead of a statistically successful shot. He decided to do like a trick shot, which is like just shooting it like a with a round trajectory down in the middle, because the goalkeeper would like choose to jump left or right, because he doesn't have time to see the ball and then jump and react on time. So usually the goalkeeper chooses one side, and he decided to shoot in the middle. But even the Panenka, like, he shot like a very soft one, almost like a pass. Everybody was like, what the fuck are you doing now? And then soon after, extended time, so we have 15 minutes and another 15 and 15, but everybody was still in shock. A couple conspiracy theories for people who like them, and I'm one of them, let's just admit it, but I'm very skeptic. Usually I think that the reality is a lot less glamorous than the conspiracy theory. But some people believed that, because there were some people talking on phones, especially like the people from the federation, the Moroccan federation, and this and that, etc., they believed that he lost on purpose because Morocco decided, or the high people in Morocco, I'm not going to say more, did not want to win that way because it would create civil unrest. And we saw some videos of some Moroccans in Moroccan cafe or establishment in Senegal being threatened and hiding, and they were saying, please, I hope we don't score because they're gonna beat us up. Like, tensions were really high. Also, something I forgot to mention, before the penalty was shot, it was not in the most serene environment, because there was outbursts of violence, extreme violence, from the Senegalese crowd who attacked the staff, and some people went to the hospital. It was a big mess. And while the penalty was being shot, behind the Moroccan goalkeeper, there were people almost like invading the field and barely being pushed back, but clearly some people were inside the field or the pitch as the penalty was shot, which is technically not valid. Like, you should only have the two teams and the referee on the pitch. You cannot have somebody else on the pitch. He missed People were in shock. Of course, conspiracy theorists were like, okay, let me explain this. But anyways, then we played the extended time. We played the second extended time. They score. They won the World Cup. Brahim Diaz was devastated. To be really honest, my friend's reaction was, I think it was a little bit dramatic. But I'm not a big fan. I'm not a huge fan of soccer. Of course, I love my country and I want my country to win, and I was disappointed. But the next day was like another day at the office. And I will say something that probably the guys in Le Foutoir, my friends, will be maybe a little bit disappointed. But after every victory, and we have been like piling them up, outside on the street, it's like Rio de Janeiro. And I had to work the next day. And I talked to my dad and he said, what the fuck just happened? My dad and I are fan of football only when Morocco is playing. Maybe you guys are also these kind of fans, but tell us in the comments. And I said to my dad as a joke, because honestly it was like a stress relief. And I said, well, at least tonight we'll get a good night's sleep, because they will not like be beeping and honking and screaming on the streets, etc. This whole competition was like under heavy rains. It has rained in Morocco like it probably has not been raining for the last 30 years. It has been raining nonstop for the last 3 months. So right now, this last maybe 15 or 20 days, it barely stopped a little bit, but we have never had this much rain. And I saw like people downstairs from me, because I live above some cafes, etc., and they took like a big giant screen outdoors, outside, and people were watching under the rain and putting their coats and trying to put their hoodie on and trying to. As soon as he missed the penalty, before they watched the 2 15 minutes extended times, half of the people just left. They're like, yeah, fuck it. They were disgusted. My friends were disgusted. They usually record podcasts here in my studio here. When they came, I was like, hey, what's up? It's like, yeah. Like, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure, right, we lost. In my head, I moved on very quickly, to be honest. Of course I care, but not that much. Like, it would not ruin my day. I would be bummed out, but that's pretty much it. And here is another twist. The Moroccan, association, the National Moroccan Football Association, decided that they did not accept that, because legally, in the rule book of FIFA, we cannot, if players decide to leave, then the referee should have decided, okay, which is called, I'm just going to give it a rough translation. I'm not sure if it's translated that way, but tapis vert, which is like green carpet, which pretty much means that if you decide, if like 2 or 3 more players, or like 2 or 3 or more players of one team decide to leave without the permission of the referee, then it's they drop the game, and pretty much they forfeit. And the referee did not make this decision. And apparently I saw some videos, but again, you never know with those videos today with AI, and I don't know. He declared that the game was over, forfeit. But it was like a mess, and everybody was like distracted, etc. Then somebody told him, no, you keep playing. And they came back and they won. Okay. So they appealed this decision. The Federation of Football has not been communicating properly at all, the Moroccan one. 2 months later, they decided we won. So keep in mind a few things that are interesting. Now, a lot of people are betting, or they bet money on this game. So if you bet on Morocco to lose, then you won money, or on Senegal to win, whatever, you won money. Now, should you give it back? Apparently not. You can keep that. But if you bet on Morocco to win, you lost. But oh, wait a second. So I won. So I won my money. So Um, BetClick and all those Winamax and all those things, they decided if we give you money because Senegal won, you keep it. If you lost because Morocco did not win technically, and now it ended up winning, we will pay you. So all these betting websites and all that, they decided, okay, we will, like, if we gave you money, keep it. And if we didn't give you money because now the new decision, we will give you money. So they lost in both counts. They can handle it. I'm sure they've been winning a lot of money. So this is nothing. They want to stay afloat and they don't want to make anybody unhappy. And they want to avoid any lawsuits. But another technicality is they won medals. They won a cup. So now they have to give it back. The president gave bonuses and money and lands to the Senegalese team and staff. So now officially they lost. So do they have to give it back? I think not, but that's an awkward situation. Like, they appeal this situation. They want to take it all the way. And in my opinion, and I disagree with many of my friends in Le Foutoir. Again, Le Foutoir podcast. If you go on YouTube, you click on Le Foutoir podcast. I will leave the link in the description, but go check it out. It's actually pretty fun to do. Even if you don't know a lot about football like me, it's still a fun atmosphere. So my friends in Le Foutoir, they said, no, I'm sorry. We are happy. Me, personally, the way I earn money, the way I win, the way I do things is sometimes more important than the results. Like, life is not a destination, it's a journey. This principle applies to me 100%. I feel like they ruined by this horrible decision to leave the pitch because, you're pouting, I don't want to play if the referee is not nice with us. Some people said, we paid him off, etc., etc. Shut the fuck up. Like, we did not pay anybody off. Like, we paid for the fucking stadiums. Like, we are out of money. We don't have that. So anyways, bad decisions from referee happens all the time. Now, they ruined the party. They won, but it was it gave a bad taste to this victory. Now we won, and to be honest, I don't really care anymore. They ruined it. So you win, and FIFA gives, I think, $10 million to the winner. Now they have to give it back, etc., etc. We will hear from this story for a long time because they appealed it, and apparently it would take like 6 months to a year, and then next year we will still be talking about it. The World Cup is coming in 3 months or whatever, 4 months. Like, what are we talking about? I think we just need to drop it. And some people suggested, you know what, we should replay this match. And then I said, I turned to my friends in Le Foutoir. I'm like, what do you guys think? And they shut this idea down, thinking it was stupid. But, I just said, I heard, but it was my idea. But yeah, I did hear it, but I thought it was a good idea. Then they shut it down. So, I don't know. I think we should leave the past at the past. They inspired some other teams, I heard, in Ukraine, not in Ukraine, sorry, in Turkey, I think, who played and they didn't like the decision. They decided to leave and they canceled the game, etc., etc. I think you have to play fair. If you don't like the decision of the referee, too bad. It's part of the game. Some decisions were on your favor. Some decisions will be against you. Whatever. So now we won, and some Senegalese players said, you would have to go through me if you want me to give you my medal. I'm not giving you the medal. Even the president, apparently, of Senegal, he posted a picture with the cup behind him in his desk and saying okay, now what? I think this stare down is just ridiculous. The captain of the team of Senegal, he said something very cool, and I'll finish with this. He said, we won, they won, it doesn't really matter. They think, he said, I think we are the winners. We played and we beat them on the pitch. Now, the sad thing, like if they want it back, I will personally go and recuperate every single medal from my teammates and the cup and everything. The damage that has been done is the relationship between those two people. Of course, like any competition, especially this one, it seems, it has a political aspect to it. And instead of reuniting, you know how they say, unite Africa, unite, etc., etc., it created a mess. I agree that a lot of countries, they were like, wow, like this is fantastic. The Morocco, look what Morocco has been accomplishing. Like this is beautiful. The streets are beautiful. The hotels are beautiful. The Morocco is fantastic. Of course, some haters, I hate to use this word, but haters, they have been like hating on Morocco, saying, oh, this is bullshit. This is this, this is that. But I think we were like, the competition level was too high in terms of infrastructures, and people got too jealous. They got like shocked and they started hating a little bit, which, to be really honest, I understand. And usually hate comes from admiration, so it's fine. Because the stadium spoke for themselves, the infrastructures, the security, the transportations, everything was like top notch. And it's undeniable. Now, the relationship between Senegal and Morocco have been like really, really damaged with this. We won, to be honest, couldn't care less. Couldn't care less either way, if I'm really honest. Like, I just wanted to see some good football. That's it. And of course, as a bonus, if Morocco wins, fine. But like, it's just a game, okay? Guys, thank you so much. This was a solo episode. I was supposed to go for 20 minutes, but I think we went a little bit over 35. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Go on Le Foutoir podcast on YouTube if you want to check it out. We also have a page on Instagram. Don't forget to like, comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.